How's it going, boys and girls? This is Xorkent with a cringy intro edition of Pacifist playthrough. Welcome to part 5. Today we will be killing the cultist and 3 out of the 4 pillars in the lunar event. Yeah, it's gonna be very awesome. In all seriousness though, welcome back, and, well, you probably heard what we're going to do today, and you probably read the title. So, the first thing I recommend doing, I'm just going to get right into this, is to farm Golem, what I'm doing right here. And this is so you can upgrade the turtle armor if you did the turtle armor thing. This whole part is optional if you didn't. If you got the turtle armor, you can farm Golem for beetle husks and upgrade your turtle armor to the beetle armor, which we will be switching to once you craft the full set. And if you did not get turtle armor, go for Shroomite. That is a perfectly fine alternative. It's kind of annoying to get the truffle and then the auto hammer and stuff like that, but I would say it is about as grindy as getting the turtle shells without killing the tortoises, so yeah. It all checks out. By the way, now that we are officially in the post-golem phase of the game, we can upgrade our wings once again. I know we literally just did this last episode, but time flies, especially when you kill Plantera and Golem in the same video. I promise though this will be the last wing upgrade we will ever make, since you really can't get anything else in Pacifist Run. And plus this is the post-golem stage of the game, so there really isn't much left to do anyway. Now I would like to get something out of the way. As you know, the Moonlord Fight is coming up, and I do have a plan for this. I am going to use the 199 trick on the Moonlord, but it's not as simple. So I have built this contraption to reach precisely 196 enemies. Any higher and the Moonlord will not spawn. I'm not entirely sure why only the Moonlord has this safety mechanism and none of the other bosses do, but whatever. Now the reason I dug such a huge perimeter around this contraption is so that no other enemies can spawn. The only mobs that will be able to spawn are from the statues, and basically at 196 enemies, what that changes is the Moonlord's eyes will not be able to pop out once you kill them. So basically once you open the core, the fight is basically over. So now we have a bit of a problem, and I didn't really want to mention this until this video. So unless you got really lucky, your world is probably in a pirate invasion right now. Now, the cultists will not spawn unless there is no current event running. To put it simply, we have to get rid of the pirate invasion. I did not realize this when creating the rules for the Pacifist run, so if I absolutely have to, I will allow pirates to be killed just so you can get rid of the invasion, but I am going to try to do this without killing them, just to try, you know, because the idea is we're trying to kill as little as possible. So if I can finish the invasion without killing any of them myself, that is the ideal way to do it. So we actually did learn a bit from fighting the Goblin Army, well, fighting the Goblin Army. We learned that the Nurse and the Demolitionist make a very good combo of fighting invasions, because the Demolitionist throws grenades, which are pretty decent, and the Nurse will heal herself and other nearby hurt NPCs, which will be good in case one of the NPCs gets hurt. This will ensure that they never die during this whole invasion. And yeah. I mean, that's it. Just... who's pinging me? Stop! Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah. So this is what the pirate invasion is going to look like for the next hour or so. It's going to take a very long time to get through. But yeah. And at around 50%, the Flying Dutchman should start spawning and stuff. And if a pirate captain is about to die, you better get the heck out of there. Despawn him, because he will turn into the pirate's curse, which can go through blocks. The NPCs definitely will not be able to kill it, and it will kill you. So just be on the lookout for that. Brilliant, now the cultists have spawned. That was quick. Now, we do need to wait for one more thing. You see, I've been practicing the cultist fight. I have struggled with it, but there is one thing that I know I can get at this point in the game, which makes the fight a lot easier for me, and that is the Sergeant United Shield. Now, the reason this thing is so good is because if you equip the Feral Claws, you can constantly hold your click down, and you basically just have consistent damage since it just homes in on your enemy. Now, the bad part about this is it will home in on other enemies as well, but again, those will be accidental, and at this point, killing any basic enemies by accident is just like, you're not gonna get anything out of it anyway, so what's the point anymore? The point is just doing the stuff with what little you're given. The idea is not, oh, if you hit this one enemy and you killed it, oh my god, the run's over. No, it's just like, as long as you don't use what you get from the enemies, then you're good. And for anyone who doesn't know how to get the Sergeant United Shield, it is sold by the Traveling Merchant as an extremely rare item. It costs 35 gold, so get ready to spend some stuff. But the main issue is just how long it takes to not only get a Traveling Merchant, but to get a Traveling Merchant that sells it. I think I went through 12 Traveling Merchants to get the shield, and I consider that lucky. You can probably guess who this house is for. It is for the what? Oh, yeah. Give me a second, I'm gonna go buy the Contaminator. Why? Before I show you the cultist fight, I would just like to tell you something. Yes, you can do the 199 trick on the cultist, however, I would very strongly recommend against it, because the 199 trick, if you don't deactivate it before the cultist dies, you will skip the entire lunar event because the world cannot summon the 4 pillars, due to not enough NPC slots. Essentially, you skip the whole lunar event, and you go straight to the impending doom. This is actually a very bad thing, because there are some things that I do actually intend to use on the lunar event, and I strongly suggest you get these things as well, because without them, the Moonlord Fight will go very slowly if you're good, and if you're bad, you will just straight up die. Now, I originally didn't have a plan going into this as to what pillars I would do in which order, but I just decided I would do Vortex first since that was a pretty easy one. I did not want to do Stardust because I wanted to save the easiest for the last, so that when I ended it I would have, you know, as much health as possible, possibly enough to regenerate to full by the time the Moonlord had come. Vortex was easy but not too hard, so I got that one out of the way first. I got some Vortex Fragments. You are going to die a lot, let me just tell you that. And even if you don't, it will still take a painfully long time, even with the Stars United Shield, to take the pillar down. I found that when the pillar's shield actually goes down, the most efficient way to kill it is with slow-moving notes from the magical harp. Even if you die, shoot some out right before you die, and that will do a ton of damage after that, and you should take the pillar down in no time. After that, I realized that the next two were going to be Solar and Nebula, because, as I said, I'm saving Stardust for last. So I decided I was going to grit my teeth and go to the Nebula Pillar, because at least then I would get the Nebula Blaze, which I was actually planning to use for the Moonlord. I did not record any footage until I actually defeated the pillar, but let me tell you, if you thought the Vortex Pillar was painful, you are in for literal hell at the Nebula Pillar. You are going to die probably every 10 seconds. It is painful. But at least we can get the Nebula Blaze now, and actually while I was at it I crafted the Vortex Beater as well. And with that, I headed to the Solar Pillar. Now, I would very strongly recommend to do the Solar Pillar after the Vortex and Nebula Pillar. In fact, I was actually stupid. Craft the Vortex Beater before you go to the Nebula Pillar. The Vortex Beater is a freaking lifesaver. I did not realize this because, well, to come out truthfully here, I'm not a very big fan of the ranged class, but I'm definitely going to look at it more favorably after this pacifist run is over, because I cannot tell you how many times the ranged class has saved my life during this run. It's... oh man. This is like the Thanos moment. Maybe I should have treated you more kindly, you know? But, I accidentally left OBS running for around about 10 minutes before I realized it and actually paused the recording. So, enjoy a quick time-lapse of me fighting the Solar Pillar. So I would just like to say something real quick, just a personal little flex. So I beat the Vortex Pillar in about 3 or 4 deaths, the Nebula Pillar with too many deaths to count, and I finished the Solar Pillar with only 1 single death. I don't know about you, but I'm quite proud of that. The Solar Pillar, the freaking Solar Pillar, the one that everyone hates because of the crawltipedes. Yeah, I only died once. That's the least amount of times I've died in the pillar so far during this run. That's impressive. I mean, it's not like we greatly increased our power with any lunar weapons or anything. No. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what could have contributed to this. If anything, that's just an advertisement for crafting the Vortex Beater and Nebula Blaze, because these things really are awesome. Right, so I had some tips just for when you guys are actually fighting the lunar event yourself. For the Vortex Pillar, assuming you're following the same order that I followed here, the Vortex Beater, hit them with the Cursed Flames and the Sergeant United Shield over and over. There's really nothing else you can do. The Hornets will never die fast enough to not turn into alien queens, so you're just going to be dodging a lot of projectiles. And then, of course, hit the thing with the magical harp. Then craft the Vortex Beater. Use the Vortex Beater to annihilate the Nebula Pillar. I think it would go a lot smoother if you actually had the Vortex Beater when you actually faced the Nebula Pillar. I was stupid and I didn't craft it until after the Nebula Pillar. With the Nebula Pillar out of the way, go to the Solar Pillar, and I actually have a tip for certain mobs in the Solar Pillar. So the guys that, like roll into like a spinning Beyblade, basically, you may have noticed that when I shot them with the Vortex Beater, the projectiles reflected off of them. When they're in their Beyblade phase, any projectiles will bounce off, but apparently the Nebula Blaze projectiles don't. So hit them with the Nebula Blaze. That is the Selenian's weakness. That's what they're called. And for the Krultipedes, you may notice that I actually evaded most of their attacks by doing an inverse slither.io kind of strat, where like I would allow the Krultipede to circle around me, but for some reason it would never actually go straight to me. So it would just circle around me and I would just hit its tail until it died. I don't know if that's an intended way to fight it, but it does work, so I don't know. It does require a little bit of skill to do, though.